Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Epiphany Podcast. Today's guest is a hairstylist and cosmetologist, Kassandra Sepulveda. Oh, let's go. I hope I got that right. Yes. How are you? How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for coming on.
Of course,
by the way.
yeah.
I know I'm trying my best to get like a little bit of everything, like in terms of like sparking every girl's interest, right? So we had a florist, and then we had I think she did like a brow. What was that called?
Esthetician.
Esthetician. Wait, what's the difference between an esthetician and a cosmetologist?
Okay, so what I did was cosmetologist, right? So for that, I mean, you basically have to go to a trade school. So there's like 3 different categories in like the beauty industry, right? So the first one would be like nail tech. That's basically the shortest. And that's mainly like if you want to focus on nails. Yeah. And then the second would be esthetician, which is probably what she did. So that's more like aesthetics based. So it has to do more with like skin. So like waxing, facials. They can still get into makeup. But their license is a little bit more limited on what they can do. And then what I did was cosmetology. So that's basically like, imagine all of like the beauty things or like the whole beauty industry mashed up into one. So what I did was like the longest course that you could take for trade school. Yeah. And yeah, I'm basically licensed to do just about everything that the beauty industry like has to offer. Yeah,
because I was trying to figure out like when I was doing like research on you, I was like, okay, like what is like, because I didn't know what a cosmetologist was, right? And to my knowledge, like I thought you did like just strictly hair, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then when I started doing that, I was like, wait, she does nails, and then you did facials and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's everything. So I started off doing makeup. That's mainly what people know me as, and that's true. Like with my Instagram, Cass MUA, that I started that because everybody knows me by Cass. Yeah. And then MUA, a lot of people don't know, but it stands for makeup artist. Yeah.
And that was like more.
No. So CAS MUA stands for makeup artist, and that's kind of what, since I started doing makeup when I began my whole like journey and stuff, I thought that would be like a perfect username. Yeah. So cosmetology has to do with everything. Like at first I knew that that's what I wanted to do, but like as I started to research more into like the careers and stuff, I knew that hair interested me too. And eventually I feel like it's a good thing because in case you get bored with anything, you can always like try out whatever. So yeah, like the cosmetology is like such a broad thing.
Yeah. Did you start were you doing it during school or no? I don't remember. Like
not school. Like I was like doing both things, or what do you mean?
Like how did you start initially getting into it, like the makeup?
Oh, okay. So I think it all started when I was like 14, around like 2015.
Yeah.
YouTube was like, I feel like it was in its golden era. I feel like YouTube is not really in that era anymore.
No,
but
it's not.
I feel like a lot of the girls that would watch this podcast could agree that like around that time, all the OG makeup artists were coming around, like Jaclyn Hill, Manny MUA, who was the other one? Oh, Nikki Tutorials. So they were all coming around, and I was, like I said, I was around 14, and I would just like watch all those YouTube videos all the time. When I would get home from school, like I could spend hours watching them. I think that's where I started getting interested with it. And then I just kept like practicing at home. Like I would bring friends over and I would like let them do, let me, like I would ask, would you, can I do your makeup? Or that's kind of how it started. But
so you kind of always knew you wanted to do like you wanted to go along that cosmetology route.
Yeah, and then I mean my grandfather used to cut hair, and my dad did too. And then my brother, which I'm sure you know, he has a barber. He has his barbershop, so he's a lot older than me. So I also grew up like kind of watching him, Yeah. And then
at first started in the garage and all that.
Yeah. So like I said, at first I kind of thought that I liked doing makeup, but as I started to like try it out more, and then eventually I became a junior. And I didn't go to prom that year, so I did a whole bunch of like my friends' makeup. Yeah. Yeah, and I charged them I think maybe like $30 to do their makeup and their hair.
Dude, they lucked out. Whoever did that, they probably lucked out.
Yeah. And then I did like 9 of my friends. I don't even know how I did that, but I think from there it really like opened up my eyes and like oh wow, I could actually make this, like because I loved it so much. Yeah. And I think that's the point where I realized like I could make it into a career, like make a living out of it.
Yeah. So college was probably never on your radar then, huh?
Like I never did bad in school, but I knew that I didn't want to go to college. Like I knew that I wanted to go to a trade school, like get it over with and get to it. Because I'm really like I'm kind of impatient. Yeah. Like I'm really stubborn, so I knew that this is what I wanted to do, and I knew that I was ready to like put my all into it. So yeah, I mean it was scary at first because I was so young, but Yeah, I was 17. That's when I started my profile, CastMUA, and I started posting just like the makeup that I would do. I would post it on there, and then I would follow a lot of girls that were also makeup artists in like the area, and I would kind of get off ideas of like, okay, how are they doing it? How are they posting? How are they getting clientele? You know, and then just
so like like initially a lot of them were just like friends then that you started doing like the first ones.
Yeah, a lot of them were friends, and then that when I was a junior, it was like I said, it was for prom, so I had a lot of senior friends that were going. So then that's how I was like, oh, you know, do you have somebody who's doing your makeup? Like, hey, I can do it. Or then a lot of the times, they already knew that I like doing makeup and stuff. So then they would ask me. Like,
how was that experience for you doing all that prom? Because you said you did like 9 different ones.
It was stressful because it was my first time ever. Like I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And actually the last girl that I did, we were running like super late. I had to give her a ride to catch the bus because I thought she was gonna be like, you know, late and miss it. So it was stressful, but it's like a learning process, and I feel like I'm super grateful that that's what started. Yeah.
How did you? Okay, so right when you graduated, is that when you went into cosmetology school? Or?
No, so right when I graduated, COVID hit. My initial like plan was always like, okay, I'm gonna get straight to it. I'm gonna graduate and go into cosmetology school. But like at the time, I mean, I was working at McDonald's when I started, like when I was in high school. I started working at McDonald's when I was 16. So I was kind of juggling school, like high school, going to work, and then eventually, you know, thinking about going to school. And I was gonna pay, like I paid my cosmetology tuition. And a lot of people don't know, but like trade schools are expensive. So when I graduated school, COVID hit. The only option was online. And I was like, if you know, this like the career that I want is so hands-on and it's so expensive, I was like, I'm not gonna do it online, you know, I'm gonna miss so much. So I just decided to take a break, and I just continued working. I continued to be really consistent with like posting on my Instagram. And I think, you know, like God's timing, I feel like it was good, because I feel like during that year I got to grow a lot, like my following, and then just with myself, I feel like my creativity, I got to explore a lot, and then just see like what I liked and kind of what was my style. So then 2021 hit, and then I think it was January I started looking into schools already, and then I had a couple in mind, so I went and like did my tours, and I got set on Adrian's Beauty College in Turlock.
Oh, cool.
And then so February of 2021 I started school.
Dang, and how long was the schooling process?
So for cosmetology, that's like the longest route. It's 1,600 hours, so it just kind of depends on like the person. For everybody's different. Like if you're always there, if you never miss, like you'll normally finish around 15 months. But obviously, you know, nobody really finishes around that time because, you know, like you get sick or you just can't make it. And then the thing with that school is that I had to be there Saturdays, and I was already doing makeup. And I was already working at the salon, El Deluxe, so I had to accommodate like my bridals and stuff like that. So I missed a lot of Saturdays in the beginning. So then I eventually had to make those up. So that's kind of what pushed me back. So like all in all, I started February of 2021, and I didn't graduate till September, basically almost October, because it was September 23rd of 2022.
Really?
And then after you graduate, you have to pass like your test
like
for the
exam
school
or something.
And then once you pass those, you have to take your state board to become licensed for the state of California. So it just depends your luck. Like sometimes you graduate and you can take that test right away, but for me I had to wait till December. So it pushed me back even more. Like I graduated and I got my degree in September for cosmetology and like, you know, finishing my hours. But I basically had to wait till December 28th. That was when I had my state board test, and luckily I passed it on the first try, so I got licensed.
Dude, how was that? Was it hard? Like
it was, yeah.
Like what were the questions? Like was like a fit? Was it like a hair thing, or was it like written?
So before it used to be both. It used to be you had to go in to like the Bay Area and do a practical, which was the written test, and then once you passed that, you had to do, or sorry, the other way around. So you first went and did your physical. So you had like to do it on like the dummy heads or like the live model. And then once you would pass like a certain amount of, you know, like the procedures, usually it would be like a haircut or like, you know, they would mostly check like your sanitation to see if you're following like the state rules.
Protocols and stuff like that.
So once you would do that, you would do your written exam. But I got lucky. So my year, 2022, they took that off. So now it was just the written. So yeah, I just took the written, but it was still really stressful. It was 150 questions. And then you can only, it's not like, oh, A, B, or C. No, it's like you pass, or you don't. And then you have to pay. You have to pay to take that test.
How much was that?
I don't remember. I think it was like 200. So not a lot, but like if you don't pass you have to pay again. on top of like the tuition and like everything else.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, no, I'm gonna pass it. So, and I mean, I had time, so I really took the time to like study, and yeah, I passed.
What does that entail though? Like when you say study, like is there like a book, like a cosmetology book, or how does that work?
So I feel like a lot of people like don't know what it like. I feel like they kind of downgrade on trade schools, or like, you know, sometimes I feel like people are like, oh, you know, college is so hard, but honestly, trade schools are super hard because I feel like
hard, yeah.
they mash up everything like that you would learn in semesters in like this short amount of time.
Oh, okay.
So we had like 3 or 4 like big thick books that we had to like actually fill in, complete to the point where once we graduated, we had to turn those books in, like fully done. And then tons of like theory. We had tons of notebooks that we had to do, like writing and stuff. And yeah, so we had 3 books, and one specific one was the ones that they told us to study that book. Yeah. Because that would really help us with state board.
Oh, okay. When I'm also curious. So like when you said during COVID, you kind of just spent it like expanding and like growing in yourself. How did you like expand? Like, were you still doing clients or no? Like,
yeah, so during COVID, I mean, that was kind of a year that like bummed me out a little bit because I was already, I feel like I was going pretty good. And then obviously COVID hit, and you know, a lot of people were like, you know, we're not doing parties or anything like that. Yeah. But eventually, I feel like the first 2 months were really like on lockdown. After that, I feel like people kind of stopped caring. So there was a lot of like backyard wedding, like people would do their weddings backyard or like small get-togethers and stuff. So I would still do clients like here and there. When they would do that, they would come to my house because in 2020 I still wasn't working at a salon. I was just working from home. I was home based. So they would come to me, or sometimes I would go to them. Of course, like I would wear my mask and stuff.
Yeah. How was that for you? Were you kind of nervous because like this is like such a like intimate service, you know what I mean?
Not really. I mean, sometimes I was like skeptical because I was doing them in my house, like you know, you always kind of have that fear like, oh, who are you gonna get? Yeah. But I mean, I was like, I have to do it, you know. So yeah, I still got some clients, and it's kind of how I kept growing. And then just being really consistent with my profile. Like I said, I would literally post like every 3 days. Like I would get home from work, and then I would just like find something on Pinterest that I liked, and then I would start practicing on myself, post it, and then take a break, and then the next day I would post. Like I was super consistent.
Because I feel like I followed you for a while, like your page and stuff, and I can like honestly say that as well. Like I can like that's an testament of what you do. Like there's I think 600 posts.
Yeah, I'm like, super consistent.
Like that's crazy.
I try to be, yeah. Like sometimes I feel like now, well, I mean, I'm blessed that I feel like now I have like a clientele, and like I'm more like settled in. So sometimes I can slack off a little bit just because I already, and not only, I mean, not really slacking off, but more too because I'm so busy, like with my recurring clients. Yeah. And, you know, just keeping up with the small business is still a lot. So sometimes I feel like I fall back, but I try to at least post like twice a week, at least, like on my actual profile. But on my stories, like I can say that I'm consistent every day. Like there's not one day that I don't post on my story.
Because it's kind of hard too, because like social media now is like your resume. In a really sense, is. You know what I mean? Like when I want to get a haircut or just anything, and I look at their social page, it's like
your work.
Yeah, you know. So how did you get into? Because you started at Deluxe before you were licensed, right? So how did you get into there? How did?
So I feel like I said, I feel like it's all part of God's plan because I had no idea. Like that was not in my plans at all. Yeah. I feel like sometimes you tend to downgrade yourself to like your work or like, you know, you feel like you're not gonna align to certain plans. But yeah, that was not really in my plans at all. Like I was thinking that I was just gonna keep working. Still working at, like I thought that I was gonna have to work part-time at McDonald's and then still do like my clients, being home based, and go to school. Like that was my original plan, because at first, like I said, I was still trying to get my clientele, and I feel like a lot of people that have small businesses can also relate to that it takes a while to like build that set clientele. Like you can get a lot of people, but to have those set clients that will come like back the recurring to you, ones, that's where your money's at, you know. So I feel like I just wasn't there yet because I had just, you know, my journey had kind of just begun. So I was thinking like, no, I can't fully, you know, be independent on just this job. So I felt like I still had to like juggle all those things. But so in February, when I had gone to do my, like, what do you call it? Like my tours for the schools, I was set, like I said, on Adrian's, and that was my plan. Like, okay, I'm going to start school. I'm still going to juggle these 2 jobs. Yeah. But actually the owner of El Deluxe, is like friends with my brother. Okay. So they went to high school together. They're the same age. So they followed each other like on Facebook and stuff. Yeah. And it was actually, the owner is obviously the girl and her husband. So it's like both in partnership. They opened up that salon. Oh, my brother followed them, and then he saw that they had like posted the grand opening. Yeah. So he told me, he's like, hey, they posted a grand opening for the salon. It looks super nice. And she has like makeup vanities open. because a lot of salons
Okay.
don't do that. Like they just have like the normal the hair stations or
Yeah.
like the private rooms, but she had makeup vanity like stations,
Yeah.
like for just makeup artists. I had never seen that before, and
Yeah, that's interesting. So like instead of like in a barber shop, how they have the chairs in the mirror, it was literally the exact
a
same
vanity.
thing. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was literally like she had 2 makeup vanities.
Oh,
and
that's
she
cool.
posted it on her story from the grand opening, like
Yeah.
what she had available. She was like, okay, hairstylist chairs, whatever. And then on the list was makeup artist stations, and she had 2.
Okay.
And that was the first time that I had ever seen a salon here in town do that.
Yeah.
And my brother told me about it, like, you should go check it out. And I was like, no, like, there's no way that I can work in a salon right now. Like, my clientele's not there yet. I'm going to school. There's no way I can juggle all that.
Yeah.
So just go try it out. So I talked to my parents about it, and they were like, yeah, my parents have always been super supportive. They've always pushed me to it. So they convinced me to go. So I went and I did a tour of the salon with the girl. Steph is her name, Stephanie.
Yeah.
And I explained to her, like, hey, I'm going to start school. How much is the rent? Like, it's a lot. I was 19 years old at the time. I was juggling so much. And she explained to me, she's like, okay, the rent is this much. It's your, like, as soon as you pay your rent and you get, like, we sign the contract, like, the keys are yours, and I don't give you a schedule. Like, you become your own boss, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
So then that kind of appealed to me, because I was like, okay, I could make it work because I'm not on a schedule. I make my schedule, basically. So then I went home that day, and I was just, like, really thinking about it. Like, should I do it? Should I do it? Should I do it? Prayed about it, talked to my parents, and I feel like it just came about, and I got, like, the answer the same day, because she called me. She was like, hey, you know what? I talked to my husband, and we're willing to give you a discount for the rent.
Oh, that's
like, if
awesome.
you come in. And you can start whenever you want. And I was like, that's my sign. So I said yes. And I'm not even kidding. Like, within those first 2 months, my clientele went from, like, what I had, and it, like, doubled.
Really?
And I was able to quit my job within,
that's
like,
awesome.
those first 2 months of working there. So I became self-employed, like,
dude,
2
good
months
for you,
working.
dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was a moment, like, it was really humbling for me, but it was also like a really, like, a moment that I couldn't believe that,
I mean that's a beautiful thing, because I know, like, one day, like, because for me, I'm still working part-time.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, I'm still actually, no, I'm working full-time. I'm looking for a part-time, know, but I know it's so hard that, like, trying to juggle it all.
Yeah,
you
really
know what
is.
I mean?
Yeah.
And especially, like, I know once I can do this full-time, that'll be like the fucking dream come true.
Yeah, when you really love something, I feel like I said, I'm really impatient and I'm really stubborn, which is a bad thing and it's also a good thing, because I feel like because of how impatient I am, like, I feel like I really did try my all,
Yeah.
And, like, that was always my dream. When I would be going to my part-time, I would be dreaming of, because like I said, I would follow. I feel like part of your growth too, you have to surround yourself with people and try to act like the person that you want to become.
Yeah.
So I feel like I was really kind of,
like, with the
actively
confidence and all
doing
that
within myself. And I would always, like, envision myself, like, being self-employed and doing what I love. So I think that also really helped me. And like I said, I know that, I was really blessed that happened really quickly and, early on. But I feel like it does feel super amazing to see, like, the fruits of your work finally kind of,
Yeah.
So
because you're talking about, like surrounding yourself around, like, so did you have people that were, like, mentors or, like, people that you looked up to with this, or is it all just you?
No, I didn't have mentors. I didn't take classes for makeup or anything like that. I was like, self-taught. But I feel like with that, like I said, my parents have always been very, very supportive. Like, they've always pushed me, my siblings too. And no, like, mentors are, like, really friends that I would tell, like, my plans. No, but just within my family. And like I said, on Instagram, I feel like I did follow a lot of people that I looked up to on there.
Okay.
A lot of makeup artists that had been doing makeup for years already, that had, like, the whole entire year booked ahead.
Shit.
You know what I mean? Like, I really looked up to them, and I would kind of see, like, how are they doing it? What are they doing?
Yeah.
What can I do? What can I work on? So not that I had mentors, but I feel like I looked up to a lot of people. And I feel like that also, means a lot. And just to your like, your friendship circle, like, that matters a lot. Like, who's around you, Are they on the same, like, team as you? Or do they have your same mindset? And if they don't, then you maybe shouldn't be around them.
I feel like that, for me personally, like, with what I'm doing, like, that's been so hard, because no one else is, like, really doing what I'm doing with this. You know what I mean? So it's been really hard to, like, show people, like, the vision. You know what I mean? Like you're saying, you're just, like, you don't really tell anybody, you're just doing it, But not to say, like, it's nice, it's refreshing to, like, oh, look at what I'm doing, like, this is fun. You know what I mean? But, like, when you don't have that circle, I feel it also kind of it's hard.
Discouraging. Yeah. And then, like, coming from a small town, And being so young at the time, it was really scary for me. Like, especially when I started working there, I was the youngest one. So imagine myself being surrounded by like girls that were 25 and up. Like, they had been in the industry for years already. Like, they had their, stuff together. And so it was really, like, I would say intimidating for me sometimes. And then as well, when I would have clients come to me, I would sometimes feel intimidated because I would be like, oh, my gosh, what if they say, like, this girl's so young. Like, does she even know what she's doing?
Oh, did you ever get that or no?
No, I didn't, because I feel like I always try to carry myself really well.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah,
honestly.
and I always try to, like, okay, I feel like it all comes down to the way, like, if you're confident with your work, and if you're, like, the way that you carry yourself and the way that you speak to them, so, like, that can show, and then that kind of, tricks them a little bit. Yeah. So even though I did feel intimidated, I tried my best not to show it and just carry myself really well. Basically, yeah. But no, I feel like I definitely got that, especially in high school when I started my whole Instagram stuff. Yeah. Like I said, I was a junior in high school. So a lot of the girls, like, I would kind of get that, like, little mean girl stuff where they would be like, oh, like, what? Because, around that time, like, people were going to football games, people were going to parties. Yeah. I missed out on a lot of that because I was focused so much on this, Yeah. So a lot of my friends would be like, you work so much, like, why, like, just come with us or whatever. And I feel like it can be really hard because me being so young and coming from a small town, people have a hard time seeing your vision. So, you know what I mean?
It's hard, but then ultimately, like, what you're doing and what I'm doing, it's like we get it, but they don't, and it's okay. They don't have to.
Yeah, they don't have to. And I think that's when I started closing off my circle a lot. Not in a mean way, Like,
no, it just happens.
I was never rude to them in any way. I was like, no, I can't. I'm just focused on this. Yeah. But you do kind of start to distance yourself when you feel like your circle's not.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, because, like, what I do for this, it's more along the lines of just, like, in case my mind goes blank or like you kind of like you're done, because what was hard, for example, is like when the guests get like kind of shy, right, and then they don't know what to say, like let's say, for example, for you, when did you start doing makeup? Oh, I did it, I started when I was like 14.
Yeah,
that's it. And then it's like what you're doing right now, like how you give me a lot, that's what makes a better interview, you know what I mean? But also a lot of people in this town, or just like in general, aren't on podcasts. They're not around with all the people, and then the cameras. It's like, fuck, you know what I mean? So that kind of, like, for example, like, we can just like look at it, right? So, like, let's say brows, right? When did you start doing brows? Oh, 2 years ago. And then you don't give me anything. Okay, cool. So and then what about nails? And then you just keep. I just have to like keep it going. You know what I mean? Yeah. But dude, it is kind of hard. You know what I mean? Because like, for example, like, let's say I like to tell this like as a joke. For example, like, just I don't talk, right? The silence is very loud. You know what I mean? So like when you're having a conversation and you want it to flow, it's like when
if you keep talking.
Yeah, and then if it doesn't, it's just like, okay.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm always around people like all the time, and I always have to talk. Because the same thing with my clients, I get a lot of people, like, shy people coming in, or just very, like, awkward, people, which I understand, it can be, especially because I'm in my own, like, little private room now, so it's more like, if you don't talk, it's awkward, you know, and I'm always so used to being around people, like, I've been doing this for a pretty long time now, so I feel like I've learned to keep the conversation going, or just keep asking questions, or, you know what I mean? So I'm pretty good about, like.
Do you think that's more of a testament of like your personality, or like maybe like the McDonald's customer service?
No, I don't know. I think a little bit of both. I think it did help me, like, to be honest. It did. It helped me to like build a tougher layer, I feel like, too. Which I'm like really like blessed as I look back at it. I feel like I haven't had any bad clients. Like one or two, but like not to an extreme like what I've heard, So I feel like I'm pretty good, and I feel like now too, since I have like my set clients that come into me, you kind of build a bond with them in a relationship. So like now I don't have that issue, but like when I first started, maybe like one or two, but I feel like it did help me build like a tough skin. Too, like it does help you like to have like conversations with people.
Was it like when you say like those type of things, was it like literally like when they're in the chair, or was it more along the lines of communication? Because I've found that like barbers, for example, or like what my editor with his company, they do, it's like more along the lines of communication. That's where things get lost. Or it's like, I thought it was gonna come at this time, or it's like no, this and that. Was that what you mean? Like when it was harder?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the times, like, you know, with booking, I'm pretty sure like the barbers can agree with this too, or anybody has a small business. I feel like sometimes people tend to not go on your highlights or not read your policies or not whatever.
Yeah.
So I feel like, yeah, sometimes a miscommunication, like my 2 clients that I've had kind of like that have been like where miscommunication, where sometimes like they just ask a whole lot of questions, or they're kind of just like common sense just like doesn't come, like doesn't flow in the conversation, you know. So I feel like that's where I've had like a little bit more of a tough time. But like I said, I'm like, as I look back, I've been pretty blessed. I haven't really had any complicated people. Yeah,
because I know like that could be really frustrating, and then I also see that like in your field, and like same with barbers, it's like, look at my highlights.
Yeah,
like
your policies, because we really do put so much like effort and time into that, like when we make it. And I feel like it's so, and I mean, now, like, there's really nowhere where you go and it's like a walk-in, you know? Like, everywhere you have to make an appointment.
Yeah.
And then just for, like, from experience, I feel like from, you know, sometimes people canceling or whatever. Yeah. Like, now nobody, like, lets you book without a deposit, you know, or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So, type of thing. Well, at least, like, unless
that's what you do as well, right?
Yeah. Okay. Like, unless they've been my client for years, you know, and they're, like, my recurring clients and they've never failed me. Like, like, sometimes if they'll book from one day to another, they'll be like, oh, do I send them? No, you're fine. Like, just come in, you know, whatever.
Because you built that rapport with them.
Yeah, but, like, if it's a new client that you have no idea, like, they might be great people, but you don't know, you know? So you have to, like, get that deposit.
Do you get more of those, or do you get more recurring?
So right now I feel like I'm kind of half and half. Like I have my set clientele and my recurring clients that come in a lot to like get their makeup done. Like whenever they have an event, like they always reach out or whatever. Yeah. But then in general, like during the week with my haircuts and facials and all that, it's a lot of recurrent people that I have. Oh. Okay. But yeah, for like bridal and quinceañeras, well, I do get a lot of like new clients, you know, like referrals or sometimes they come in. I'm like, oh, how'd you find out about me? And they're like, oh, on Facebook, like I posted that I was looking for this or for that, and people recommend you. Or I was just, like, looking up on Instagram and your, like, profile popped up or whatever. Yeah. But a lot of times it's recommendations. Like, my clients will give them my number or whatever.
Oh, wait. Okay, so when you say recurring clients, like, what do you mean? Like, are people constantly coming in to get their hair, like, done? Or, like, makeup? Or what do you mean?
Yeah, so with that, and I mean, like I said, I offer a whole bunch of different stuff. So, like, with brow waxing, like, obviously, your brows are going to, like, grow and get out of their shape, like, every 4 weeks or so. Okay. So, they'll come in and get their brows waxed, like, every 4 weeks. For a haircut, for, like, a trim, it's always, like, every 3 months. So, they'll come in every 3 months. For facials, it's every 3 to 4 weeks. So, they'll come and get their facial every 3 to 4 weeks. Okay. What else do I offer? Or, like, brow laminations and lash lifts. That's also, like, every 4 to 6 weeks. So, they'll come in, like, they'll pre-book. Whenever they come in and they do their session, I'll ask them, like, okay, you know, when do you want to do your follow-up? It's 6 weeks from now, so it would be around this timeline. What day do you want? And then we'll book them in, and then I'll see them again. So I feel like that's what keeps your business flowing, because you have those secure people coming in. Yeah. Okay. When you are doing the haircuts and stuff too, are you like, are you dyeing hair too as well? No, so my license covers that, and I mostly do like everything except for that. Like when I was going to school and we were doing like clients that would come in, because we would have to do like live models. There's like certain stages that you have to do in trade school in cosmetology. Yeah. So first it's a lot of theory, like a lot of note taking, a lot of test taking, and then after that you get to a point where you start practicing on the dummies. You pass tests on the dummies, and then after that you follow on to the salon floor. So they actually have a salon within the school that like actual clients come in and you do services on them. So that's a lot for us to practice. So when they would come in and they would ask for hair dyes, like I had to do it in order to graduate, because they had to see that I knew how to, you know, how to do it. Yeah. But I just knew from like the first day I did a hair dye, I was like, nope, this is not for me. It? No. Why? What did you not like about it? I feel like I'm just so used to super quick services. Like with makeup, I got it down to like 45 minutes to an hour. Haircuts is also super quick, like 30 minutes, you know? Yeah. All of my services are mostly like an hour, maybe 2 hours if they ask for like hair and makeup, but no more than 2 hours. And so I feel like I'm just used to like moving quick. And that's another thing too. I feel like I have an issue with like doing the same thing for a long time. You know, I kind of have to be moving all the time or else I get bored. So I feel like with hair, like the first client that I had, I think I spent like 4 hours on her hair. Then I had one that had so much, and I think we did like 8 hours on her hair because she got like highlights and all this other stuff. Oh. So it was so tiring to just be standing the whole time. And I think it gets boring too. Like, what else do I ask them? What else do I talk about, you know? Yeah. So I was like, nope, hair is not for me. And then people now, I feel like they have a really high standard for like what they ask or like what they expect. So I was like, I don't want to get into that. Yeah, you just didn't offer those things. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite thing to do out of all your services? What's your favorite? I think makeup, just because like they're for such like special events, you know, like for bridal. I've built like some of my like most like best memories with my clients when they book for bridal, just because it's like such a big day in their life, you know. And I feel like it feels like an honor for me that they chose me to be part of their big day. And I always tell them like, thank you so much for trusting my, you know, my work and for like booking with me, because it really is like one of the biggest days of your life. You know?
And they chose to pick you. Like, that's awesome.
And a lot of times I travel out, like I've gone to Monterey, Carmel, or like the Bay Area, whatever. So it's always so nice. Like I enjoy waking up early and making the drive and getting to the venue, seeing the whole process. And I've got to see like some of the most beautiful venues when I go. So I think that's by far my favorite, just because like it's such a special moment. Yeah,
because you said you were doing like groups, like when you do those things, like you'll do like the groups, like the bridesmaids well, right? Or no?
So usually when the bride books, it's never really just for herself. It's always like her and then her like her bridesmaids. And obviously like the mom of the bride, the grandma, blah, blah,
all those things.
So yeah, it's always like at least 5 to 8 people. Sometimes like I've gotten 1 or 2 occasionally, like the bride just books for herself, because she's like, I don't want to stress about it. Like they can get whoever they want. If they want to book with you, they'll book separately. Because they just don't want to stress about it. But it's normally always like a group of 5 to 8.
Are they already like, are you doing like a flat rate or that, or are you doing like person based? Like do you already know going in, this is the X amount of people I'm gonna do? Or no?
Oh, yeah. Like, whenever they book, in order for them to even book with me, I have to know, like, how many people am I going to do, and, like, what time do they have to be ready by, and the location. Because in order for me to do that, I have to know. Like, I have to know how many people, right? Because, like, let's say their venue, I don't know, their ceremony starts at 3. Like, that means that they have to be ready by 2, like, latest. So then I have to know, like, let's say you're doing 5 people, then I have to start, like, let's say, this is just saying, but, like, let's say 7 a.m., you know? So, like, I normally, like, sometimes I'll add a person last minute. But usually, like, when they book, it's because they've already given me the amount of people. Their time that they need to be ready by, and location.
How do you base your times? How do you base the price off of that? Are you basing it off of, like, the location and the people, or, like, the looks? Do you already know what look you're going to, like, do on these people, or no?
So, well, no, actually. Sometimes I'll get there and I have no idea what they're going to ask for. But, like, for bridal, it's a set price. And then for, like, bridesmaids, I always tell them it depends on the look. So when they show me the picture there and I actually do it on them, then I give them their price. But I will give them, like, a price range, just so they can kind of, like, base off of that. But yeah, bridal's a set price because they usually always ask for the same thing. Like, it's always the same look. It's usually just like neutral brown, like eyeshadow. They usually do like a little bit of shimmer. It's like the classic bridal. I feel like it looks, and when they don't know what they want, I'm like, okay, I got you. Like, I know what I'm gonna do. And they always like it. It like shows up really well on pictures, on video. Like, it looks pretty. So they normally ask for the same thing. Bridesmaids though, like sometimes they ask for something a little bit more extra. But I always talk to the bride and I'm like, hey, like, do you want them to have a specific look? Because like if they show me and it's like, let's say a freaking red lip, you know, she's like, I don't want that. So I do have to ask the bride, like, what do you want your bridesmaids to have? Are you okay with whatever they choose, or you want me to tell them like I have to do this?
Have you ever had any like bridezillas or anything?
Not really. Okay, like one time, I feel like not really bridezillas, but more to where they're stressed out. And I feel like sometimes it's not even them. It's like because they have so much going on and everybody keeps calling them. Like, where do you want this? Where do you want that?
Oh, they can't just sit down and focus.
Yeah. Right? Or like sometimes, they have to get up and like go do something really fast and, you know. So not really that like them, but more of like they get stressed from everything that's going on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I haven't really had anybody like, you know, act up on me, but it's more just because like the surroundings,
just the whole environment and everything.
It kind of stresses them out a little bit. So sometimes when they come to me at the salon, it's better because they have no distractions, you know. They just leave and they're ready, and whatever they have to deal with, they deal with.
I bet that's nice for them also. That's like their time, like the calm before the storm.
They get to relax a little bit. But yeah, definitely when I go to venues, it can be a little bit stressful sometimes because, you know, and sometimes I come out, like I'm super happy and like everybody, like seeing everybody's reactions and seeing, because a lot of times like I've experienced where I'm done and I'm like cleaning up my stuff and they already started the venue. So I've gotten to see like a couple of my brides walk down the aisle and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, or sometimes they'll invite me to stay or whatever. I never have because always I'm super tired after. But yeah, most of the time, like once I'm done, I'm like so tired because I also get like overstimulated from seeing everything.
So when you say like you give them like a set price range, right? What differentiates like a more expensive look to a not? Like what makes it more expensive?
So bridal's a lot of detail. brides are like, obviously they're the main character of the show, so I feel like I do a lot of skin prep with them, just like to make the makeup look its best. You really have to take care of their skin before,
Okay.
So there's like a lot of prep that goes into that. Also, it's just we're talking more, we'll like doing an extra little consultation, because a lot of them will do trials before their wedding day, just to make sure they have a set look of what they want. But even then, like that day of, even if we already had a trial, I usually will still consult them a little bit, like, hey, are you sure we're so good on that? Look, how does it look? And I'll usually give them a mirror in between, just because I want them to make sure that like when they're done, they're like 100%.
They're already happy.
Yeah, so it's a lot more detail with them, a lot more time. I take a little bit longer with them too. Like I said, it's extra product, because usually I do like prep my other clients, but I make sure that I prep them really well, and just sometimes like pamper them a little bit. Like I'll put like some under eye gels or like just extra stuff,
Yeah.
It's like make it memorable for them too.
And then so for like the bridesmaids, right? Like when they're asking for like what, like for you, for example, like what would you say a more expensive look is like?
It just depends on the eyes, really. Like the face, for me, I feel like everybody has it. Like every makeup artist has a different style. Yeah. But for me, I normally try to keep the face like really natural. Like and like I still obviously a nice flawless look, but mostly the eyes is what makes the price. Like if they want something really like simple on the eyes, okay. If they want really something really simple on the eyes, like really basic, that's mostly where it would be a little bit cheaper. But like let's say they want a full cut crease with like glitter, eyeliner, all this stuff. It takes more time, and it's more you have to more patience, if you're like there, like makeup is very detailed, so like you're like breaking your back as you're trying to do, so that's what determines the price, is like the eyes.
Do you have a favorite look to do?
Bridal, because it's just so simple. Like since I do it so much, I could probably do it with my eyes closed. Like it's so obviously not, but like you're saying, it's a really simple makeup. And then just when they ask for like something just very natural, I feel like that's my favorite, because it just like basically makes their features stand out. But I feel like those are one of my favorites. It used to be cut creases, but I feel like the trends have changed so much now. Like not a lot of people want to get like full glamour cut creases anymore. What's a cut crease? I'm sorry. Cut crease is like basically like what the name is. So we cut the crease with like concealer, and then we'll do like a nice like glitter or something on it. Okay. So it's like very bold, like it's a very dramatic eyeshadow. And that used to be my favorite, because you can explore your creativity a lot with that. But I feel like as the trends have changed, I've also like changed what I'd like to do. Yeah. And I think just the more like natural, like just making their features stand out. Okay. That's my favorite.
So as like a stylist yourself, right? Would you say like your style of like makeup and stuff like that is just going to be natural? Because like obviously there's different styles, right?
Like myself, like for my clients, or for me personally?
No. For you personally too. Like, what do you like to do when you're doing your makeup, right? Are you like more for a natural look, or do you like the crazy eyeshadows and stuff like that?
No, so when I first started, because I think I was just so excited, like trying everything out, I did really like to do a lot of my eyes and like stuff like that. But I feel like now, as I've gotten older and as I've gotten more mature, like I really don't get ready a lot. Like I obviously my hair, yes, like I always try to make myself like put together, like with my style. I do love like fashion and stuff like that. Yeah. So I always try to like put on a cute outfit, do my hair, like style it. But I feel like for my makeup, as I've gotten older, I feel like I've learned to accept my face more, and I feel like I don't really, and I feel like a lot of my clients will say that too. Like I do makeup, but I rarely do it when I'm at work. Like I'll literally be the simplest thing. Like I'll do a little bit of mascara, my brow gel, maybe like a tiny bit of blush or something, lip gloss, like super simple. Of course, when I'm going out or like for special occasions, you know, I'll get ready and something like this is what I'll do. It's like also very basic, just like a little bit of shimmer, like lighter tones. Just because, like I said, I feel like as you get older, your face kind of matures too. Yeah. And I feel like your styles change. I still will sometimes do like something a little extra. Yeah. But it's normally very simple. I feel like I just also kind of like to make my features stand out.
That makes sense. Do you have one that you hate doing? Like if a client asks you, like, can I do this type?
Like a makeup look? Yeah, I think kind of cut creases now. Yeah. Really? Like going back to that, like as much as I used to like it, I feel like now it's so time consuming. And then two, cut creases are so like difficult because everybody has such a different eye shape. So, like, a lot of people come in, like, there's hooded eyes, almond eyes, round eyes. There's so many different eyes, right? Yeah. So, as I've, like, grown in the industry, too, I think you get to see your client, and right away you're like, this will look good, this will not. And it's not in any rude way. Yeah. It's just saying, like, your face shape will look so much better with this certain eye. Like, because, I mean, people, like, girls will agree, too. If you do an eyeshadow and, two different ones, your face can change completely with your eyes. Oh. So, sometimes when I look at them, I'm like, you know what, that's super pretty. And then two, like Pinterest pictures on Instagram, they're so edited,
Yeah, it
So I'll be
doesn't do
like,
it justice.
okay,
Yeah.
I can do that, but like, how about we tweak it up and we change it a little bit? Because sometimes they want like a full on, and like let's say they have hooded eyes, you really can't do a cut crease on hooded eyes. So it can be a little bit difficult, not just like the process of it, but like having to explain to them, be like, hey, like that's super pretty, but how about we change it a little bit to this or that?
Yeah. Have you ever had any clients that are just like cutthroat set on a look?
No, I feel like most of the time I get it more where they're like, you do what you think looks good on me because you're the makeup artist, So it's actually pretty simple because I'm like, okay, I got you. Yeah. But yeah, sometimes like they come in set with like a look and they're like, I want this, and then I'm like, okay, what are you wearing? What colors are you wearing? You know? And I'm like, actually, let's change it to this. What do you think? Of course, I always make sure I get their consent. Yeah. And then if in the end like they're just set on a look, I mean, they're the client, they're always right. So I just do what they want, But I always try to give them like my opinion on it.
Do you feel like the looks change with the seasons? Because like as a guy, okay, like I was thinking about this, right? I was like, in theory, I feel like it would change. Like a girl would want more like brown looks for like autumn. So like when they go to the whole the pumpkin patch.
Yeah, I think they do. Yeah, like spring and summer, I feel like it's very light makeup. Like very light colors. Yeah. It's more of like shimmer because you want to glow. Like it's summer, and then too in summer, like it's so hot, you don't really want to be wearing a lot. So yeah, I feel like a lot in the summertime, it's a lot of like lighter makeup looks, pretty light colors. Or sometimes I'll ask for like little shades of pink or purple, which can look really pretty too. Like if you can know how to blend them out and stuff. So yeah, I would feel like in the summer it's a lot of like pastels, lighter makeup, lighter styles, and then right now like fall and then entering like winter, it's more bold looks. Also too, just because like Christmas and stuff. Like they like to go all out. So yeah, it definitely does change with the seasons.
See, I knew it, bro. That's why I was like, okay, that would make sense. But I'm also curious, like, how have you figured out like your pricing on that? Like in cosmetology school, are they teaching you how to run your own business, or is it just solely like the craft in itself?
No, they do. Yeah. So not like how to run it completely, but they definitely do give you like the basics behind it, like what it means to run your business. And then they give you, it's mostly just like state based, like which type of business do you want to run? Do you want to run a solo, a partnership, a franchise, so they do go in depth with all that. And then they let you know like how are you going to have customer service. Like we did a full like chapter with different sections, and I think there was like 9 sections in that chapter of how to build your business, how to have customer service, and how to apply that. And one of our tests too, when we would get clients in, they would test us. How would we greet them? How would we talk to them throughout the process? Would we like promote ourselves? Would we like promote products at the end? So yeah, they definitely teach you that too. Of course, like it's such a like short portion of time, and I would say too that like you do learn a lot in trade school, but definitely when you get out of school, you learn most of it on your own, just figuring stuff out.
How was that experience for you then? Like, cause like learning how to talk to the people, like obviously like you said earlier about like just being confident and like doing those things, was it hard in the beginning learning how to like, okay, this is my set price, or like how did you base your prices on your stuff?
So just like with pricing, I feel like I started off, obviously you have to start cheap, like even though that you love what you're doing and you would wish that you could get a little bit more, but obviously you have to start like cheap at a cheap price. You gotta start somewhere. Yeah, because you want people to come to you. So obviously if you start charging like $90, they're gonna be like, oh, that's too much, and she just started, So obviously at first, like I said, when I first did it like back in 2019, I think I charged them like $30 for makeup with like lashes and everything, and I would go to their house. So like gas and like everything included. And then eventually when I started being home based and I started getting more people and like more followers and stuff, I bumped it up to probably like 60, a little bit more. And then once I started working at the salon, I actually asked the girls there. So the owner, Stephanie, she actually does makeup too. So I asked her like, hey, how much or I think I remember asking her, or another one of my coworkers, like, hey, how much are you charging? Or like just when I would book to get my makeup done from like a makeup artist that I really like their work, I would kind of say like, okay, how much are they charging? Do I feel like I'm there yet? Because you have to be honest with yourself too. Yeah. Like, do I feel like I'm there? And I felt confident with my work. Eventually you start growing, but you really do have to be realistic. Like, okay, do I feel like I'm there? And then too, I feel like you build your price too. Like, are you being nice with your client? Are you making it like a nice time for them? The products that you bring in, are they quality products? Are they not? Like everything goes into that. So that's kind of how it would determine my pricing, like the people around the area too, because here's a small town, so you can't charge like what Bay Area makeup artists charge. People are not going to pay that here because the pay is different. If I were to move, obviously I can bump up my prices like double of what I charge now, because like I said, it depends what area you settle yourself into.
Well, I mean, also too, I'm kind of, but like, I get like you're in a small town, right? But like as you grow and your levels, like your experience gets higher, like what does it really matter that you're in the Bay?
Oh,
like,
no,
you know
no,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, definitely. Like you can, and I feel like now that I'm at it, and I feel like too, every year you kind of have to bump up your price too, because like right now too, inflation, everything else. So like definitely from last year to this year, even if you've obviously you progress every year, you know, every day, every client that you get, you're progressing. You know, you're still practicing your service. So yeah, I feel like every year too, you bump up your prices. Like that's kind of what I've done. Every year I bump it up a little bit, but I do. And then yeah, no, definitely like you can still charge whatever you feel like, even if you're not in the Bay. But I just me from like personal experience too, and like from people that I've heard and stuff like that, like things like extensions, like hair extensions, like there's actually a thing where they clip on like hair to make your hair look longer. A lot of people don't really get that here just because it's so expensive. It's like $2,000 for that service, you know.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so just like certain things, you know, you kind of have to be like, am I in the area for that, you know? Because I feel like yeah, you can like bump up your price to a certain extent, but just from my experience, from what I've heard too, like it just doesn't work out, because like I said, like who's really gonna pay $2,000? Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. Which like yeah, of course, like build it up to a point where you feel like you're confident with your work and it's worth that amount, you know? But you do kind of have to like keep that in consideration.
Yeah, I mean, granted, like, but that's like a small substrata of what you offer, right? Like hair extensions, you know what I mean? Like it's two bands.
Yeah, and actually I don't offer that, like hair extensions. Okay. Like I could do it, and I have two coworkers actually that do hair extensions here in town. Yeah. But I feel like it's not something like people come in all the time to get, you know? Like they do get clientele for it, but I feel like a lot of people, not a lot of people do that here in town because it's so pricey. Yeah,
because I feel like also too, exclusivity. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Exclusivity. Like if you are like, let's say in 3 years, right, 2 years, right, you grow this times 10, right, and your prices go more up, like you're saying every year, like it would be more of like an honor, like, and people would pay that much for your specific thing, because of course it's like the same thing could be said with barbers, right? And then like the guy that you just seen, right, like how he charges like 75 to 120 for haircuts, right? Of course anyone could go to any other barbershop in town or every other barber, right? But you're probably not going to get that same experience. You know what I mean? So I mean, like, I think it'd be dope to like to see how your progression goes. Yeah, but like I feel like that's also going to be like a cool thing to see for you as well, like how this all progresses. Would you ever want to open your own salon, or like what do you feel like your 5-year thing
is? That would be the main goal. Like, you know, obviously right now I'm so young, and like I said, with the whole thing, like backtrack to the fact that I'm impatient and stuff. I feel like sometimes I would, like, especially in the beginning too, with my, you know, whole thing, I would always be like comparing myself to other people. I'd be like, oh, why can't I do what she's doing or whatever, you know? Why am I not there yet? But I feel like sometimes I have to remind myself, like, you're only 21, girl. Like, you need to relax, you know? Like, you're going to get there. Yeah. So definitely, the 5-year goal would be for me to eventually, like, own my own salon and, you know, open that. Like, that would be the main goal. I would love to be, like, a salon owner and get to do my own thing with it. But, yeah, definitely that's like, my 5-year goal. It takes time, but I do definitely see myself.
Yeah, because I feel like also, too, just my outlook on this kind of has changed as well, because at first I was saying like men, but like I just feel our generation too is so hard on ourselves, like just in general, like for guys, like, oh, you have to be like make 6 figures, you have to do this, you have to do that, and then same with the girls, like in their own respect, right, like with what you do. But like you said, you're 21, I'm 22. Like that's another thing that I've looked at for the people that I admire. I think Mr. Beast, you know Mr. Beast? So something he said is, someone that you look up to, right? Look at where you are and look at where they were when they first started. So like that's how I've looked at podcasts, right? So there was a guy that I look up to that I just had him on. I looked at his first 5 videos, right? And I was like, okay, these were his first 5 videos. They weren't that very good, right? How could I be better than those first, right? And then look at him 6 months from now and 6 months for me. You know what I mean? So that's how you can still compare yourself to them, but you're comparing to them before, not now, because I mean that's obviously they're on a bigger scale. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's what I would like eventually, when I would like, you know, get to that point where I would like discourage myself, then I would be like, okay, how old are they? Like most of them were like 28, you know? At the time when I had just started, I was like 19. Well, like when I first started working at the salon, I was 19, and like when everything started kicking off for me. So I was like, me being a 19-year-old girl, I was comparing myself to people that were like 28, girls that had been in the industry for like years, you know? So I would be like, okay, if it took them 10 years to get to this point, you know, because most of them started also when they were super young.
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I being so hard on myself? Like, I'll get there, but take it slow.
That's also a dope thing that you're so young, all in a salon. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, sometimes I feel like, I mean, it's a blessing too. Yeah, it definitely, like, it feels nice. And I wish that everybody too, like, if they really want to do something, like, just do it.
Yeah, and also too, you get to see how someone else is running a salon as well. So when you get to do yours, it's not like you're just running around like, oh, I'm guessing how does this work and stuff like that.
Definitely helps with, like, experience. Yeah, just like working with people and like seeing the salon owner. She's also super young. She does amazing too. She's also a cosmetologist. But yeah, it definitely helps me out when I'm there, and then I get to see kind of how she's running things, or just in general, like working with people. How would it be to own my salon and have different people working for me, or not really working for me, because being a cosmetologist, you're mainly just like your own boss. You work for your own things, but still, like, they're still renting your spot, so you still kind of have to, like, make sure, like, are they taking care of your stuff? Are they problematic? Because you never know.
That makes sense. Yeah. Then, like,
who, like, your rent? Like
who the type of people they're bringing in as well.
Yeah, because we've had some, like, people that have come and gone, and we had, like, a couple experiences where they were pretty bad. So really? Yeah, so you also have to look into that, because you have to be prepared for it. And there's a lot of things, like, it's not just, I'm gonna open the salon. No, like, there's so many things, especially here in California. Like, there's so many state, like, regulations.
Okay.
So yeah, and then obviously the money, like, you have to have the money to open it up, because especially, like, if you buy something that's already done, they're expensive right now, especially with inflation.
Yeah.
But, like, let's say you want to buy, like, something that can fix up. Also, you have to make sure to have the money for that, like, to put into it for the renovations, for whatever can come up.
With opening a new a salon one day, do you see yourself doing that here, or would you want to go somewhere else? And if so, where?
I feel like a lot of people bash on, like, Los Baños, but I feel like, I mean, I've been here since I was 2. Like, I've basically been, I wasn't born here, but I'm originally from Zacatecas. But, like, still, I feel like just living here my whole life, I don't know, I think it's a cute little town, especially since it's growing. And then I built what I have. Like, I built my foundation here, you know what I mean? And I have all my, like, clientele here. So I feel like if I would move, it would be a little bit hard, because I'd kind of have to start from zero. I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, if I were to move somewhere close, like, let's say, eventually, like, when I went to school, I, like, really liked Turlock.
Okay.
Just because I feel like it's a little bigger than here. I mean, it's basically a city. Like, they have everything. And it's also just a cute little town, because everything's new. They have everything. Yeah. So when I went to school there, because I would commute there every day, like, my friends and I from school would go out for, like, lunch and stuff. So I kind of got to see more of the town. And I feel like if I would ever move, maybe Turlock. I don't see myself moving out to, like, a big city or the
Really?
Bay. No.
It's just not your thing, or what?
No. I feel like I get anxiety, like, just being around so many people. Yeah. And my head hurts. Like, after... What? No, I can't.
Because I know for me, like, my end goal, like, I don't know. Everything's kind of up in the air. Like that's another beautiful thing about what I'm doing, is that everyone's actively watching me grow with this whole thing. But, like, part of me wants to go out to the Bay or to LA, right, for what I do. But then part of me, I'm enjoying helping everyone in town, like grow, and, like, seeing everyone else grow. And LB in general is just growing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like in 5 years, it's going to look a lot different than it is now.
Yeah. No, yeah. And, like, that thought has come to me. I feel like when I was younger, like, I did think, like, ooh, what if I move out to LA? Because, like, there's so many opportunities, like, especially for, like, I mean, for everybody, but for, like, me, makeup artists, like, you can really grow a lot, like, out in the city. Yeah. Eventually do, like, celebrity makeup and stuff. I actually follow somebody who was from San Jose, and then she started, like, doing celebrity makeup recently, too. So, like, I could see myself there, but I don't know. Now that I guess I've gotten older, I still have big plans for myself, but I feel like I don't see myself doing that. Just because I feel like it's a faster paced life. I don't know. It's very different, and I feel like I said, I like Los Baños now, but I think to open up my shop, I would have to see, like, how things are. Do I feel like Los Baños is a good place? Or eventually, like I said, I really like Turlock, like, as I got to know it. Yeah. I feel like there's so much, like, there's everything. And there's a lot of people. There's tons of salons, too. They all do pretty good from what I've seen. So if I would ever move out somewhere, I think it would be Turlock. Yeah.
How about, like, Modesto? Modesto's, like, down the street, isn't it?
It's like 15 minutes. But no, I feel like Modesto, it's kind of an older, like, city. Yeah. And I feel like it's a little bit more like, it's like comparing, like, Merced to Turlock. Merced is, like, the same length from us, and it's, like, the same size, but Merced's, like, so old. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's kind of ghetto, So I feel like that's how I would see,
I'd be lying if I said I knew Merced. Like, when I travel out, I'm always in the Bay. Like, I'm always in San Jose. Okay. So, like, I don't really know Merced, but it's funny because I always hear the same exact.
Yeah, like, Merced's kind of good. So that's how I would kind of say for, like, Modesto. I don't know. Like, not that obviously it's better than Merced. Yeah. Like, if I had to choose, like, I think just her look is nice.
Yeah, because I was also thinking too, like just brainstorming for like what I'm doing with this whole thing is the guy next door, right? He said he wanted to open up like a studio for those like creative collectives, the people for do photography, you know, but then his mindset kind of changed on that, something he doesn't really want to do anymore, right? And I was thinking, I was like, I think I would be the perfect person in this town to do something like that, get like a kind of like a bigger venue or like a bigger building, and then do offer that kind of service for people like photographers that want to do something like that. They come in, or someone like me that's a podcaster. Like obviously there's like one other guy in town that does a podcast, right? But eventually this is kind of like a seed, essentially. Like in 5 years I'm not going to be the only podcaster in Los Banos.
Oh, no, yeah.
You know what I mean? And if I could offer like a specific service, like where someone like me can actually come in and they're not trying to figure out where the hell am I going to shoot, you know, I feel like that'd be really cool. But it's one of those things that's like, oh, like as I grow, I'd see, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people are doing their own thing now too.
Yeah.
Like I feel like too, that's kind of what I've seen is that everybody wants to be self-employed now. Like everybody wants to try out to do make. Like there's a lot of people that have, well, not necessarily makeup, but I feel like I've seen a lot of girls in the industry, like they want to start doing lashes and they want to, obviously that like they're not licensed yet, but they do it from home.
Yeah.
But I feel like everybody wants to do like, and just with a whole bunch of other things, like haircuts too. I feel like a lot of like guys have been trying to become barbers.
Because I mean that's what I'm saying, like about like the whole like pressure we put on ourselves. Like, dude, who really wants to work for someone else?
Yeah.
Like compared to like working at McDonald's to
self-employed,
now, like dude, you would take this any day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But no, I feel that, and that's another thing why I'm kind of like wanting to stay here a little longer, because there's people doing stuff here. You know what I mean? And it's like if I can help showcase whatever they're doing, you know what I mean? It's like, why not? Like people are really enjoying what this is. You know what I mean? Like seeing their friends on, or seeing someone like that they followed, and then they're on the podcast. Like, oh, it's like, what the fuck? That's dope. But that was kind of hard too. Trying to figure out who to get on, right? Because the same way you're saying a lot of people are doing, it's like everyone and their mom is being a lash tech. Everyone is doing hair. It's like, okay, so my criteria for that also is like, okay, who's taking this seriously? You know what I mean? Of course, like there's some girls that are just starting, and that's fine, you know? But it's like the whole thing is you're coming on as your story, and you offering the most value to not me, but the guest, right? So it's like, okay, you are at a salon, you're doing this, you're doing XYZ, right? You do facial, like you're offering like so many different things. So it's like, okay, another girl that's watching this would be able to learn so much just from this interview, as opposed to me giving that girl that just started the opportunity that doesn't really know what she's doing yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
Because like I know for it kind of lucked out that I got my cousin on, and she's a esthetician, right? And she has her own shop, and she does all of that. That one's coming out soon. But same thing, it's like that's like the end goal for a lash tech, for example, like to open a thing.
Yeah, so it's nice to see when they have everything together, because it's cool to watch it and see their story behind it, right?
Exactly.
You build inspiration from it, and
another thing I was kind of curious about, right? So there's thousands of different brands and stuff like that for makeup products, right? So what are you using? Like what is the stuff that you use now in comparison to when you first started?
Oh, my first ever client, I was actually 14, and it was for my friend. We were graduating from 8th grade from junior high. Yeah. So I remember that I had like already, like I would tell her like, oh look, I'm watching like all these videos and stuff. She's like, practice at home with like, you know, whatever makeup I had from like my sister or whatever. And I remember she was like, oh, like my mom said it's okay for me to get my makeup and hair done. Like, can you come to my house for like 8th grade graduation? I was like, okay. So I went to her house, and I remember my mom took me to Dollar Tree, and I bought some like makeup from there. I mean, we were so young, you know. But I bought some makeup from there, and then I remember went to Target and just like whatever you could find. Yeah. My mom took me to buy something, and then just to like whatever she had on hand. So I feel like it was like the drugstore stuff, like Maybelline, you know, whatever. Which are those not good or what? No, like that's what I was going to say. Like, not saying that those are not good, because I feel like a lot of drugstore makeup like has come a long way from like back then, from like 2012 to like now. I feel like they have a lot of stuff that compares to like the high end now. And I feel like Maybelline actually, not like I was bashing on them, but like not anymore. Like no, I feel like Maybelline and just like Milani, like a whole bunch of other brands, I feel like they've built up their stuff a lot. Like they stepped up the game. Okay. And a lot of their stuff that I've tried out actually performs just as well as like a high end brand. So yeah, I have some of like Maybelline and like some drugstore like NYX, NYX. That's one of the brands. They have a lot of nice like lip stuff. So I have some like lip liners from them and my kit and stuff. But mostly like my favorite brands are from like Ulta and Sephora, probably like Rare Beauty, like the Selena Gomez brand. Selena Gomez is a makeup brand. Cool. Rare Beauty. What else? Lancome has some really good face stuff. NARS is like one of my favorites.
Did you get like did you where was it like trial and error, like finding which brands were better, or was it like because you always have been watching like the bigger name people and then their recommendations? Yeah.
No, I think it's still trial and error. Like yeah, I would get like a lot of stuff when I would watch like tutorials or like stuff on YouTube. Yeah, a lot of them I would be like, ooh, what are they trying? And then I would go to the store and I'm like, oh, I want to try that. So I would get it based off of like what I would see on the videos. But like I said, I feel like YouTube is like not in its golden era anymore. I feel like there's nobody really posts like that anymore. So eventually, like as I started like my business, fast forward 5 years from when I was 14 watching those videos. There wasn't like a video that I could watch and be like, oh, what are they using? So it was more from just like trial and error. From just going to the store and like buying and then just asking like to like the people that work there, like, hey, what are people coming in? What do you recommend? And then from there, we just like try it on myself. Like I said, in that year of 2020 where there wasn't a lot of clients, so I would practice a lot on myself. I think that's the year too where I started experimenting. So once I started my business, I feel like I already had a set, And then too, like everything applies different on each person. So like I always love getting feedback from my clients when they're like, oh my gosh, like I loved it, it stayed on all night, whatever, like definitely recommending you. Then I'm like, okay, definitely what I'm using is working, right? Yeah. And then that's amazing too for like trials when brides come in. I'll do a certain makeup look and I always tell them like, if you want to change something, let me know. Like, because your skin type depends too. Like some girls have really dry skin, some have oily skin, so that also affects how your makeup's gonna apply. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, when they do trials and stuff, I always ask them like, how did it wear? Do you want to change something? Do you feel like you're too oily? Do you feel like you were too dry? I always have a full-on consultation with them. Would you ever like start your own brand? What are those called? Palettes? Oh, no. I feel like I've never seen myself like doing my own makeup brand. I have released some of my own merch. Like I've seen that. What happened with that? I just like now I'm at a point where I'm just too busy. Like when I first released that was in 2020. So like I said, I had already built I didn't have a ton of followers, but I had built some of my followers and stuff. And I feel like I've been blessed with really, really supportive people. Right. Because I just kind of came out with that. I was like, probably nobody's going to buy my stuff. Like, I'm nobody known. Like, who's going to wear something with my name on it, But I was like, I'm just going to do it. So my brother was doing merch for his barbershop. And that's kind of where it inspired me, Because my brother's also really known here in town and stuff. Yeah. But I was like, if he's doing it, why can't I? So I was like, I'm going to do it. So I got a lot of like hoodies. Oh, actually, no, I started in the summer. The beanies, and you had the shirts. It was summer of 2020. I started out with hats. So I wanted to start with something simple because you also have to see the investment in it. I was like, okay, how much am I going to invest? I was like, okay, I'm going to start with something that can be cheap that people can buy. Hats is a good option, because hoodies, you have to see how much is it coming out from the wholesaler, it's going to be more, whatever. And I felt like I wasn't at that point yet, so I was like, okay, I'm going to release hats because those are cheap, those are simple. Yeah. Like, you can sell them for a pretty cheap amount, like $30 for a hat. Like, everybody will buy that. Yeah. So that's what I started off just with hats. I think I just released 3 colors. It was a pink, a tan, and a black. Yeah. And then I just released it with, like, my little logo. It was a very simple logo. Yeah, the cast one. Cast MUA, with a little makeup artist, and then it had, like, the drippy lips. And I got the inspiration from Kylie Jenner, from her drippy lips. Okay, yeah. So I was like, I'm just going to do that. Let's see if it sells. And, yeah, actually, I sold all my hats. Dude. And I was so surprised. I was like, what? Like, and that was 3 years ago, damn near. Yeah, in 2020, yeah. I was like, what the heck? Like, these people. And people that I didn't even know, like, they would reply to my stories. They'd be like, do you still have that in stock? And they would come pick it up at my house. I was so surprised. So that really pushed me. So then in 2021, when I started working at the salon and everything was going good, I was like, you know what? I did that back, like, last year. I'm going to do that again. So I bumped it up. So then I released hoodies. So I released hoodies. Oh, wait, no, I'm lying. In 2020, actually, since it went so good with the hats, in December came along, and I released hoodies. That was my first year I released hoodies. So I released hoodies also in 3 colors. Black, tan, and I believe white. Also with my Cast MUA. Yeah. I released a different logo that year, though. It was a different type of style. Yeah, and then 2021, I was just super busy with school, so I couldn't do any summer merch. But I did release, in the winter, I decided to release crew necks. I was like, okay, I've already done hoodies. Let's do crew necks. They were more in style that year, too. Yeah. So we did crew necks. I also released the 3 colors. And then I also did a different logo. Those are pretty well too. And then just this past year in 2022, I was just so busy like trying to finish school.
Yeah.
And then my clientele was going up, so I just didn't have time. And right now, I really need to get on it. Like
I know, because like just you saying that was like 3 years ago. You got so much like a good response on that. Like imagine now.
Yeah,
like,
I know. I need to get on it. It's just it's really hard. Like especially now, I thought that. Like, it definitely has been easier now that I'm not in school and I'm not so busy, you know? But I feel like just now being full-time at the salon, I feel like, too, all of my time is kind of devoted to my clients, you know?
Yeah.
Because I live, like, 3 minutes away from the salon, you know?
Okay.
So, when, like, I just come in, you know, I do my thing, and I'm there, like, most of the day. So, I feel like it's also a little bit more work now, so...
Is the salon across the street from that Mezza's?
So, it actually was Mezza's.
It was okay.
It was Mezza's, yeah. Okay. And funny thing is, when I was little, I would go there with my dad so we could fix the stereos.
Really?
Yeah, so the first time that I went to the salon, when I did my tour, I had no idea because it would look completely different. I mean, it was a guy body shop, so...
Wait. So, it's across the street, right?
No, so El Deluxe is actually... It used to be Mezza's auto tune thing.
Yeah,
whatever.
So that big brown building, that's like you know when you're on going to school, like the junior high, right? What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, because I could have swore it's still there. I thought Mezza's is still there.
No, that is Mezza's now. Yeah.
Oh, what the hell?
Yeah, so that is Mezza's, and we're across from that I think it's a car shop. Yeah, actually the owner, Stephanie, her husband owns that car shop, that dealer shop right in front.
Oh, that's cool.
Her husband and I think her dad. No, her grandfather. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Own that car shop. So they just opened that recently. But yeah, the salon, like the salon that I work at, was Mezza's. Yeah, so
that's cool.
They rented the area and they like completely renovated. So it looks, when I walked in there, I had no idea. I realized that until like a month after I was working there. I was like, wait, this used to be, because I used to go there with my dad when I was little. He would always go and fix the stereos from our cars there. Yeah. So I was like, that's crazy. Who would have known that like 10 years later I'd be working here? So yeah, it's Mezza's now.
Dang.
Well, it used to.
Yeah, because I know also like another thing about like the merch thing, like you don't necessarily even have to have like clothes, for example, because I know people love accessories and they love like supporting like with just little things like keychains or like just things like lanyards along that line. I know people, and that's probably less expensive and like less of a hassle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know like for your field like what you could probably have, but I mean lanyards, stuff like that. You can also do
that, like small things. Yeah, I feel like I just really like the hoodies, and I feel like eventually like next summer I want to release like little bucket hats.
Well, that's cool.
You know, and then more also just like regular like the dad hats. I've never released shirts, so I definitely, because I've released hoodies, crew necks, and hats. So I would want to release like bucket hats and then another round of hats because I feel like those did really good. Yeah. And then I feel like they're super stylish. Yeah. And then I mean those are super easy. Like it's a one size, you know. Yeah. Like hoodies and crew necks are a little bit more like because you have to see how many smalls, how many mediums, how many large.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I feel like just something simple that I would want to do is for next summer bucket hats, regular dad hats, and then in the winter or maybe like fall I would want to release shirts. Like just like some cute crop tops for girls, or maybe like some long sleeves with like my name running down the sleeves. Something, I don't know.
That makes sense. Yeah. I'm also curious, right? So like we've talked a little bit about how YouTube's not the same, right? What happened with your YouTube? Would you ever go back like? Would you ever do it again? Yeah.
No, I feel like that's too something. Like I feel like it was all part of like my experimenting era, you know. Like I was experimenting. Okay, what do I want to do? And since I was so young, I feel like you kind of when you're that young, I feel like you want to do it all, you know what I mean? Like, what can I do? So I feel like I was trying everything. And I did YouTube, but no,
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
It is
doing the video, editing, posting, you know. And I feel like for me, editing was like, like I'm not willing to edit all that.
It's funny because I'm like on the same road, and I'm so blessed to have like
people that help you and
like
stuff.
Stumbled upon all of this because like I tried editing like the first couple times. It was not it, you know what I mean?
It's not. Lot of work.
It's time consuming as fuck.
Especially if you don't know what you're doing, you know? No, I released like 2 videos. Literally, I have 2 videos on my YouTube channel.
The glam
I'm gonna take it down from my profile page on Kassandra because I'm not gonna keep with it. No, I feel like I just don't have time. Are you on
TikTok? How about TikTok? Are you on
Yeah, I do have TikTok. My TikTok is more like personal stuff though. I don't really I do post looks on there, which I probably should. Like I really do want to get
like
into
a cat
more,
like you could have your own page for that.
Yeah, I really do want to post more like lifestyle stuff. Like not necessarily me doing makeup on other people, or maybe but more focusing on like myself. You know, like right now at least for girls, like for For You page, you know, if like men and girls For You page is different. But at least mine, like a lot of girls go like viral with like get ready with me, day in my life. So I would eventually like I do like lifestyle
and those are
stuff
easier.
Like those are super easy, yeah. So I feel like I would want to eventually put more time into TikTok. It's just like so hard when there's so many things. Like there's posting on Instagram, keeping up with clientele, staying with your business, posting on TikTok.
How have you dealt with that? Like the whole time management of it all? Because like being self-employed and being your own boss and stuff like that. How have you dealt with like the whole time management thing with all that? Like balancing it all.
I have to be really disciplined. That's really what it's about. Like you really have to be disciplined. Because again, being self-employed, like it's a blessing, but it can also be a curse. Like it depends how you take it. Yeah. You know, because if you're not disciplined, if you don't put in the work, it can be really easy to be like, I'm not going in today. So you're not making money that day, you know? So I feel like you also have to be really like, okay, how much, like, especially, you know, us being grown people now, you know, and I mean, worked at a really young age and stuff too, but I feel like I've always been like, okay, how much are like, what am I, like, your expenses, like your monthly expenses, you know? Like, how much do I have to make to pay my bills plus save plus this? So I feel like being self-employed, that's really what it's about. Like, how much are my monthly bills? How much do I have to make for that? How much do I want to save? Do I want to go on a trip? You know, this and that. How much do I want to invest into something? So I feel like you have to really be disciplined about that, you know? And like I said, because self-employed can be a curse or a blessing, you know? Like, you just have to be really disciplined. Like, okay, I'm going to put these X amount of clients today. Like if I do 5 clients today, or 5 days a week, I'm set. Or like, let's say I have a fully booked day. That's also the good thing too, though. Yeah. Because sometimes I have like fully booked weekends or fully booked like days during the week. Yeah. And then I'm like, I'm going to randomly take like a Tuesday or Wednesday off. Or sometimes I'll take 2 days off, you know? Or if something unexpected comes up, I'll just be like, I'm just not going in today.
Have you had, have you found like, trouble like not booking? Like you always find yourself
overbooking?
Overbooking, and then you're like just like slowing it down.
Definitely. I feel like when I first started in 2021, I overbooked myself and I overworked myself so much that year. Yeah. I definitely got burnt out. Like, just so you can get a little insight into my schedule, I would go to school Tuesday through Friday, 8 a.m. through 2:30. I would have to wake up at like 6 a.m. Yeah, so definitely like in 2021, that's the year that I started at the salon. Yeah. I feel like that was the year I overbooked myself and I overworked myself a lot. Definitely towards the end of the year in December, I was burnt out. We went on vacation. I was like, I definitely needed this. I feel like also too when you're starting a business, though, you kind of have to do it. You kind of have to put in those extra hours, be there when nobody is there, you know? I worked a ton of Sundays. Like my only day off was Monday. Because like I said, I would go to school Tuesday through Friday. Mm-hmm. I would have to wake up at 6 in the morning because I would have to commute to school in Turlock. Yeah. I would be there till 2:30. I would get home at 3:10. I would book my first client in at 3:30. I would be out like around 8. Get home, just have dinner, you know, whatever, shower, go to sleep, do it all over again. On Saturdays, I would do my clients. I would be fully booked from like 6 a.m. to like 5 p.m. or whatever. No, not 5 actually. Like 6 a.m. to like 3 p.m., 4 p.m. And then Sundays too, like I said, since I was barely building my clientele. Yeah. If they would want to book Sundays, I would go in Sunday for them. So I would also work Sundays. So I would only have Mondays off, really.
How has that been with you now? Like learning to like put your foot down on certain things. Like, no, this is my set schedule. This is what I do. Was that hard for you, or kind of just like?
No, yeah, like I said, like that first year, since I was so excited. Like I was so excited to be in like my own space and get to know all these people and stuff like that. So, but yeah, definitely when I got to like the end of the year and I realized how burnt out I was like, yep, no, I'm not doing this anymore, you know? So 2022 came in. I feel like that was a year too where I was like, okay, I'm going to more like discipline and like fix my schedule a little bit more. So I definitely fixed my hours. I'm like, okay, I'm only going to be from here from this day to this day. I definitely like prioritized my Sundays more, like making sure I wasn't overworking myself and at least having like Sunday and Monday. Yeah. Or sometimes occasionally I would go in Sunday, but I would just like a client or 2. Like I would be out by 12, you know, and have the rest of the day off. And then definitely now like this year I feel like I'm good. And then also too since I came out of school, it gave me time to like really organize myself. So, it was hard, but yeah.
Do you see yourself being at Deluxe a lot longer?
As of right now, I like it. I like everybody. I've never had issues with anybody. It's a really cute salon.
I want to sweat. Like, I know I have no business there at all, but like, I just want to like low key like pull up. Yeah. You just pull up to see like your whole environment and how that goes.
No, yeah, it's a really cute salon. Like I said, the owner puts a lot of like time and effort into it. I feel like we get a lot of compliments on it, like about how she's done it.
Yeah.
So it's a really cute environment. Like I said, I've never had any issues with anybody.
Yeah.
Now I'm in my own private space. I have my own little room, so I literally just walk in and I'm like, "Hi guys, okay," close the door, and I'm in my own space. And then when it's time to leave, I'll just be like, "Bye, whatever." I'll look up. So I don't really have a lot of communication with like my coworkers unless I leave. So I feel like that also. I mean, it's a good thing in a way because you don't really have any like miscommunication with people. Like everybody's doing their own thing. But in a way, the owner too, she also makes time to get us all together for like, you know, just
like
holidays,
you told me like that dinner.
She'll do like salon dinners for us, or she'll do photo shoots for us. So like she'll get all the salon, we'll all get ready, we'll like do like nice pictures so we can represent the salon and stuff. So she does a really good job of it. Like I said, I've never had any issues. She's
how long has she had that salon, or how long has she been doing all this stuff?
So she opened it January of 2021, and I started working there. It was the owner, and then one of her really good friends that was also in the industry. Her name is Christy, and myself. We were the first three to start working there in February.
Oh, that's cool.
So she's been open for 3 years? No.
2 years?
2 years. 2 years, going on like 3.
What'd you say her name was?
Stephanie.
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 Bro, I want to have her on too. Do you think she'd be down?
Yeah. So she's older than I am, but no, I feel like she would. Yeah.
Bet I'm gonna have to fucking reach out to her and everything.
I'll like talk to her about it and I'll ask her. Yeah, she wants to. Yeah, she's a really good example too. Like I said, she's really young too. Really? She's like 28, 29.
Oh damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think 28. She's my brother's age, I think. So maybe like 28. Yeah.
That's dope.
She'd be a good person to have on here too.
But thank you for coming on again. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Also, where can everyone find all of your stuff if they want to book with you, all of those things?
So my Instagram is at CassMUA with 3 S's. So like I said, MUA stands for makeup artist. For those who don't know. But yeah, you can find everything on there. I'm mostly active on my Instagram. And yeah, basically on there, that's where I'll do all my bookings. I have like everything really organized on my profile. My email is on there. A lot of people like just direct message me. So yeah, definitely my Instagram is where you can look out for stuff.
Bet. Thank you. And if you guys like that episode, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And with that one, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.